I earned a BA in Education from the University of Central Florida, an MS in Education from State University of New York. They changed the name. State University. Yes, SUNY, absolutely. And a doctorate in Educational Leadership and Language Acquisition from the University of Rochester. Other postgraduate studies include leadership studies at Harvard University, and all of my studies were paid with full merit scholarships. I'm bilingual in English and Spanish, and I've taught 8 years in elementary and high school levels, as well as I've taught or experienced other national and international universities. I've been a school administrator for almost 20 years in multiple districts in Phoenix and in New York. And I've published in local newspapers and university journals and was principal of several high-poverty elementary schools until 2011. I retired in 2011 and I'm currently director of Help U.S. Kids, a nonprofit organization that serves poor kids in public schools. So thanks everybody for coming this afternoon. It's really exciting to have you here. Today I want to explore the myth of failure in our schools, and Tara will be giving us information about communication acquisition ages 0 through 5. Raise your hand if you attended public school at some point in your life. Raise your hand if you feel that public schools in some way enriched your life. So you find value. You find value in public schools. Okay? Did it help you be successful? Did the education you got help you be successful? So I want to say, who here would eliminate public schools? Anybody? Those who think that public schools are a failure and should be closed down, I just don't even know where that comes from. I really don't. I hear it on the news, the schools are failing. I'm like, wait a minute, schools aren't failing. What is this about? So let's try and unravel any other modern country. Today, almost 90% of American students attend public elementary and secondary schools, which do not charge tuition but rely on local and state tax for funding. The other 10% attend private schools, for which their families pay tuition. 4 out of 5 private schools are run by religious groups, where religious instruction is part of the curriculum. There's also a small but growing number of parents who educate their children themselves, a practice known as homeschooling. Also, as of 2005, some 85% of adult Americans have at least a high school degree today, and today it's up just 25% from 1945. Having said that, it's pretty obvious that we're talking about the 90%. There's no doubt that today some schools are not doing well. So, are we really failing? Is it the curriculum? Standards? Do we need more professional training? Each one of these questions is a separate topic that we're not going to deal with today. Today, I want to present a model that has worked in countries, particularly in Finland, but also in Holland. Finland believes that education is not about competition, it's about cooperation. It provides health care, education, preschool through PhD for its citizenry, as well as teacher training, recognition and compensation above all other countries. And guess what? It's ranked among the best, and some studies refer to it as the best. Okay? Any questions so far? So Finland's a little Nordic country that's mostly known for Nokia. Newsweek did an article of it. It ranked #1 last year. And its national education system has been receiving particular praise because in recent years, Finnish students have been turning in some of the highest scores in the world. Finland's schools owe their newfound fame primarily to one study for the PISA survey conducted every 3 years by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The survey compares 15-year-olds in different countries in reading, math, and science. Finland has ranked at the near of the top of all three competencies on every survey since 2000. Throughout the same period, the PSI performance of the United States has been middling at best. So what's their success, considering that Finnish schools assign less homework and engage students more creatively? The gentleman, Sahlberg is his name, he's director of the Finnish Ministry of Education, travels widely throughout the United States. And he says one of the most significant things that he passes on, he mentions at one point, there are no private schools in Finland. There are none, not a one. When he came here, he visited a private school, Dwight High School, and the tuition for Dwight High School was $35,000 a year. And Sahlberg says that from his point of view, Americans are consistently obsessed with certain questions. How can we keep track of students? How can we keep track of their performance? Constantly. How can you improve teaching if you don't have accountability for teachers? What do we do with bad teachers? Do we use merit pay for good teachers? Yeah. How do we foster competition and engage the private sector? How do you provide school choice? For starters, Finland has no standardized tests. The only exception is what's called the National Matriculation Exam, which everyone takes at the end of voluntary upper secondary school, roughly the equivalent of American high school. Instead, the public schools system's teachers are trained to assess children in the classroom using independent tests that they create themselves. All children receive a report card at the end of each semester. Periodically, the Ministry of Education tracks national progress by testing a few sample groups across a range of different schools. Guess what? The principals evaluate. No one else, just the principals. The teachers. No, because here you have the union that comes in, you have the district that comes in, you have everything that comes in to evaluate teachers.
So each principal does his own type of evaluation?
His own type of evaluation. It's not the same thing that every principal uses. Right. So what might surprise you is that Sahlberg says there's no word for accountability in Finnish. No word for accountability. What matters is that in Finland, all teachers and administrators are given prestige, decent pay, and a lot of responsibility. And a lot of respect. Okay? Education has been seen first and foremost not as a way to produce star performers, but as an instrument to even out social inequality. Social inequality. Finland offers all pupils free school meals, easy access to health care, psychological counseling, and individualized student guidance.
We are moving.
I'm telling you. At this point, it's almost always ignored or brushed aside that the U.S. seems especially poignant at the moment after the financial crisis and Occupy Wall Street movement have brought the problems of inequality in America in such sharp focus. The chasm between those who can afford $35,000 tuition per child per year, or even just the price of a house in a good public school district, and the other 99% is painfully free to see. So one of the arguments was with Finland is too homogeneous. They don't have any foreigners that speak other languages. We'll come to find out that there are many states that are the same size as Finland and have exactly the same percentage of mobility in terms of foreigners that move in and out of the state. But yet Finland makes it work. Remember when President Kennedy was trying to convince the nation to go up into space? That was a dream. Finland's dream was that we want to have a good public education for every child, regardless of where they go to school or what kind of families they come from. And many in Finland said it couldn't be done. Well, many here say it can't be done. Clearly they were wrong. The problem facing education in America isn't the ethnicity diversity of the population, but the economic inequality of society. And this is precisely the problem that Finnish education reform and America needs to be more competitive abroad. So let's come back to Phoenix and what we're doing locally. I was a part of creating a model, very much like Finland's model, that provided all those services in school. The model resembled Finland's and was started at Mustang Elementary. It was a high-poverty school. 95 to 99% of the students were on free and reduced lunch. And the model existed from 2002 to 2011. Let me give you some stats about Mustang Elementary. During that time, the student population ranged from 1,200 to 760. And free and reduced lunch was from 95 to 99%. This count is an indication of the abject poverty that's coming from the poor background. I thought I was poor, but upon becoming the administrator of this school, I realized I was not poor. This was really poverty.